What's up, guys? It's Owen, also known as Big Ed Slap here, and today we got a pretty crazy story, as you can tell from the title of the video. But before I get into it, check me out on Twitch, same name as the YouTube channel, and yeah, this is all about the time that I broke my friend's nose while tripping on mushrooms. This story all takes place back in 2023, July 4th, and at that time, my mom was out of town. So I hit up my friend Alex and I'm like, yo, bro, you want to come over? My mom's out of town and, we'll have the house to ourselves so you can spend the night and we'll just have a bunch of fun. We'll light off fireworks. And he was like, hell yeah, bro. And I was like, thinking about it. And I was like, dude, you know what would make it even more fun? If we took mushrooms. And he's like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. So we hit up the plug and about 2 hours later, we get our mushrooms. So we meet up with the plug, we get our mushrooms, and we go back home. And basically, the instant that we got home, we took these mushrooms. So about 15 minutes after we take these mushrooms, I get a text from my mom, and she says, be responsible and give the dog, Jake, 3 Benadryl because he's scared of the fireworks. And I'm like, okay, don't worry, Mom, we'll be responsible. That was a lie, obviously. I mean, I wasn't planning to be irresponsible, but I was not responsible. Anyways, I go get Benadryl, I wrap it in some cheese to make sure Jake gets knocked out. And this next part, it isn't really relevant to the story, but I just thought it was funny, so I was gonna add it in. But about 30 minutes after we give him the Benadryl, me and Alex, we're starting to trip, and we're just messing around, not really like being crazy, but just messing around. And all of a sudden, Jake starts fucking going berserk and running around in circles, fucking bouncing off the couch. And this dog is huge. Like, he's an overweight Rottweiler. Like, he is like 260 pounds because his previous owners only fed him hot dogs. Shit, if I can find a picture of him, I'll throw it up here real quick. But he was a big ass dog. So it's just funny watching this big ass dog fucking bounce off the fucking couch, running around, fucking bouncing off the fucking walls and shit. But anyways, back to the story. So it's like basically dark now, and it's like probably 8 o'clock. All I remember is the sun was down. And I was like, yo, Alex, like, you want to roll a joint and go smoke? And he was like, duh, obviously. So we roll a joint, and we go back, and we're about to start smoking. But I'm like, dude, you know what would be sick? If we climbed up on top of the roof and then smoked this joint. Then while we're smoking, we can like watch the fireworks, and it, like, we'll be like super cool because we're like tripping. We get to see all these pretty colors, and we're smoking. And surprisingly, he was down. So getting onto my roof was a little bit of a process. We had to crawl up on top of the gate, and then we had to jump over the gutter so we didn't knock down the whole gutter and piss off my mom. So we go on top of the gate, and you'd think that this is where my friend broke his nose, but no, it's not. We got up there just fine, and we started smoking this joint, and it was honestly pretty fucking awesome. And I remember while we were on top of that roof, I had these neighbor kids, and they were trouble. I have a couple stories about them that I can tell, but we'll say that for another time. But they were trouble. So the oldest one comes riding by, and he's like, what are you guys doing up there? And I was like, we're smoking. Leave us alone. And I was just straight up like, I didn't want to fuck with other people. I just wanted to smoke this joint and go back inside. And surprisingly, he just rides his bike away. He just doesn't even like try. He doesn't even continue. So, that was nice. So we finished smoking this joint, and we jumped down off the roof because it wasn't a far drop. Probably only like 7 feet, maybe 6. And we go back inside, and Jake is slumped. So, we're chilling for a little bit. And then we get up and we start shadow boxing. We shadow box all the time, so we didn't think it'd be a big deal. But about a minute into us shadow boxing, I throw a right hook, and I don't even know how, but I perfectly connected that right hook to his nose. Not on purpose. Like, I have no idea how it happened. I don't know if he leaned into it, if I just misjudged my shadow boxing thrown punch, but it hit him in the nose. And he just stood back for a second, and I looked at him, and I just was like, oh my fucking God. His nose was like fucking completely sideways. Like, it was bad. Like, go online right now and look up Blake Perry nose break. He's an MMA fighter, and That's basically what my friend's nose looked like. It was so bad, and I felt so bad, dude. I felt terrible. But anyways, I look up at him, and he just like stands back, and he's just like standing there, a little dazed, but it didn't really affect him at first. So I look at him, and I'm like, bro, I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. And he's like, dude, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And I was like, no, dude, it's a big fucking deal, bro. Your nose is broke. And he's like, nah, bro, my nose is fine. Like, don't worry about it. And I was like, dude, no, go look in the mirror. Your nose is broken. And he goes and looks in the mirror and he's like, oh, yeah, shit. It's pretty fucking broken. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. And he's like, no, bro, don't worry about it. But I am going to call my dad just to make sure, like, I'm all right. And I was like, good idea. And his dad was a doctor, so he called his dad and he explained what happened and that I broke his nose. And his dad just asked him, is it bleeding? And Alex was like, no, it's not bleeding. And his dad was like, okay, if it starts bleeding, go to the hospital. But otherwise, you're fine. And then hung up the phone. So we were like, okay, cool. So we can keep on going on with our night. So I suggested, I was like, yo, dude, let's just like go outside and light the fireworks, and just chill. And my house was connected to my garage, so we stepped into the garage, and we don't even leave the garage yet. Like, we literally stepped into the garage, and then Alex just passed out. And in my head, I'm thinking like, oh fuck, okay, this is not good. I broke his nose, and it's in his fucking brain, and he just passed out. I need to call an ambulance. But before I do that, I check on him. I kneel down, and I'm like, dude, are you okay? Like, are you okay? What's going on? Are you good, bro? And he just like, yeah, just got really lightheaded and passed out. So I'm like, okay, thank God. Do I need to call an ambulance or your dad or somebody? And he was like, nah, bro, don't worry about it. I'll be fine. Just give me a second. And I was like, okay, do you at least want some water or something? And he's like, yeah, I'll take a water. And he just sounds so out of it. So I'm like, fuck, dude, I fucked up. I feel terrible, dude. Like, I feel like I'm the worst friend ever. So I go get him a glass of water. He drinks it. We wait for about 10, 20 minutes. And he's like, I'm just going to go to bed. And I was like, bro, I completely understand. Go sleep and text me if you need anything. So the next day comes, he goes home, and I think it was the next day or the day after, he ends up having to get surgery to put his nose bone back in place. And I'm like, dude, I'm so fucking sorry, dude. I feel so bad. And he was like, no, bro, don't worry about it, man. I get to try ketamine for the first time. And I was like, what? They're giving you ketamine? And he was like, yeah, bro, they're gonna give me ketamine. And then, like, when I'm in the surgery, apparently I, like, just, like, won't care. And I'll just let them do whatever they want. And I was like, bro, it sounds like a trap, but have fun, I guess. And he was like, yeah, bro, I will. And I remember later that day, I picked him up, and his dad wasn't too happy because he technically wasn't supposed to be going out. But I picked him up after he did ketamine, and he was already super just fucking like slow that day. But we smoked a joint, and he was fucking so fucking gone, dude. Like, if you mix ketamine and weed, apparently it really fucks you up. Don't do that. It's bad. Don't do anything in this story. But it doesn't end there. So we end up going to my mom's house, and she sees the splint on his nose. And we explain what happened. I'm like, yeah, I accidentally broke his nose. We were on mushrooms. I feel so fucking bad. And she was like, Owen, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's so fucked up. You're such a bad friend. Like, why would you do that to him? And I was like, Mom, I didn't mean to. Like, it was an accident. And she was so mad. I ended up getting a long ass lecture. Like, she told Alex to go downstairs, and I got lectured for like 20 minutes on how badly I just fucked up and how horrible of a friend I was, which deserved, but it was an accident, and he knows that. And I'm actually still friends with Alex to this day. He's actually my best friend. He's like a brother to me. So shout out to him for being so chill about it and not ending our friendship over it, which a lot of people, I feel like if that happened to them, they probably wouldn't be friends with each other, but we're still really good friends. And my mom actually just brought up this story to me, so that's kind of what reminded me about it. And she was still mad at me for it. She kept giving me shit and basically gave me a whole nother lecture. And I'm like, Mom, that was like 3 years ago. But, anyways, that's the end of the story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Moral of the story, don't do mushrooms. And if you do mushrooms, be smart. Don't punch your friends. Don't break your friend's nose. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. Like and sub if you did. And peace out.